Hello people of YouTube, it's Deepak here, and welcome to the DCS news stream for the 22nd of January 2022. I hope you all enjoyed that little Hornet tutorial video all about the within visual range modes, otherwise known as the air combat maneuvering modes in the FA-18C Hornet. Hey, Stevie B, welcome to the stream. Yogi, welcome. Tog, welcome. Everyone wave. Wave at your screens, make people question your sanity. So yes, going to be continuing with that series. Next week, we're going to take a look at the air-to-ground radar modes. We're going to move into the air-to-ground realm, and there are many of them in the Hornet. Hello, Storm Kinbarry. Hello, Isa, Yang, Dave, Phil, Byron, Bull, everybody. Deepak here to bring us the good news. Well, yes, indeed. I think probably just to get that ball rolling, without any further ado, let's bring dotChuckles in on this and let's begin the DCS news. So, welcome, the one and only dotChuckles. Hello, sir. Hey. Come fly with the VAF after this. We're all on Discord, says Bull. he's getting the VAF message in nice and early tonight for us. The poor lad did himself in. Dearie me. Yes, and actually, in the past, I just want to very quickly address that people have continuously mentioned they could never read my Deepak thingy. Oh no! I'm terribly sorry. I've now unmuted you. I did indeed have you muted.
You dick.
I'm really sorry. I must have done that because you weren't on last week and I killed it just so there weren't any additional sounds. So nobody heard any of that. So basically, Chuck hurt his back last week. That's what we were talking about. Oh.
Yeah. I'm an old man. And I slipped a disc, and I'm in quite a bit of pain and painkillers, and so last week I had to take some time. So it was a bit crap.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, indeed. But yes, we've got him back now. Very sorry for that technical hitch. I was also just going to mention that people have been pointing out that the lights underneath my cabinet behind me were always obliterating my little name tag thing here in my video feed. So I've now turned them off, and now you can actually read my name. And actually, Chuck doesn't have his name on.
Yes, I know, and there's a reason for that, and it's not going to appear today, but it will next week.
Very well. We know who you are. We recognise you, sir.
Yes, I'm famous enough.
Everybody knows dotChuckles. Cool. So
nobody knows who I am.
I know who you are, and I'm sure that all the viewers do too. Chat knows who you are. Yogi is asking if you pulled too many G.
Pulled something.
Dearie me. Cool. So anyway, let's begin with the DCS news. It's been an exciting week for news, and we are back in the swing.
That's a word for it.
Yeah, it's been a news week. It's been a week. Yeah, we're back in the swing of receiving newsletters, pardon me, from Eagle Dynamics. So let's start with the newsletter is all. And of course, the headline item, the H-64D Apache. They say, we've made tremendous progress on the H-64D. Release-ready items include the external model and internal cockpit models, pilot and gunner high-resolution models, external and internal lighting and sounds, IHADs, MPD pages, PINVIS, TADs and sensors, 30mm cannon, Hydra unguided rockets, laser-guided Hellfire missiles, the ASE, CMWS, George AI pilot, and phase 1 of the DM. That's going to be damage model, I assume.
I haven't thought so.
Yeah. Despite suffering from the most recent variant of the COVID-19, the team has accomplished a minor miracle, and the early access is very close to being available. Can you guys feel where this is going. However, certain aspects still require extra polish, notably flight control system heading, attitude and altitude hold modes, multi-crew, cold start, George AI, co-pilot gunner, certain crew animations and system damage effects. We understand that our decision to delay the early access release is frustrating and disappointing. Please accept our apologies. Our commitment is to deliver this exciting new aircraft to you in the nearest future, hopefully in February. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Please remember that the 30% discount and extra ED miles are still available all the way up to early access. So, there you go. It's official. It's kind of what I suspected from last week's DCS news. The Apache is delayed, sadly.
Yeah. The thing is, we've been talking about this like privately, not on DCS news. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, really, that we didn't feel it was gonna make this month either. Yeah. And again, it's that critical yardstick that we always use about an imminent, well, certainly me and you always use about an imminent release of a module, that you've got to have seen a startup video and you've got to seen a this is how you shoot stuff video, and we hadn't seen either of that. And funnily enough, last night, it was either last night or the night before, we were discussing it on Discord, and people were saying, oh, well, when do you think they'll make an announcement? And I said, I think they're going to take a meeting on Friday, and they'll probably announce a delay on Monday. And actually, they've done it a bit earlier from when I thought, but it's clearly that they've taken that meeting on Friday and come to the decision that it's going to get pulled.
Yes, exactly. And we're getting the question in chat, should we accept the apology? And I would say emphatically yes. Is that a word? Yes. Emphatically?
Yes.
Something like that.
Emphatically, yes.
Thank you. I think this is good. I think Eagle have done the right thing. I think... In my opinion, they've been very open in their communication here. Maybe they should have told us a little earlier, but I guess they were pushing and they were really wanted to get it on time, but it just wasn't possible. So I think this is very reasonable, and they should be applauded for doing this.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time that they've mentioned COVID having been a factor.
Yes.
So it sounds like they've had some key staff go down with COVID, which, do you know what? That's the world we're in right now. Yeah. And that's a totally, you can't manage around that. If you've got key staff and they've gone off ill, they've got to have time to recover. They've got they've got to spend time isolated. It's a thing. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they've handled this delay better than some of the other things in the past. This is a bit more of an adult way of communicating. Yes. They've given us the information so that we can understand what's wrong. It's not been, a few years ago, this would have been basically, stop being so entitled, it'll be ready when it's ready. That would have been the old ED way of communicating, but I think this is much more mature and much more adult. So I think it's definitely put some sugar in the medicine to make it a little bit easier to swallow. And I'm with you on this. I think it's exactly the right call. Like, I think there was a very interesting video from Casmo.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where he goes, which I think we're going to look at in a little bit.
We are.
And, he discusses some of the things, because obviously he's involved in the development to an extent. He discusses some of the things that they're working on. And he said that actually he felt that the Apache right now was in a better state than what the F-16 was at launch. So, clearly they're wanting this to be a really good product. So yeah, I think we absolutely accept this, and I think we just bide our time.
Absolutely, it's going to be worth the wait, and it's going to be all the better for this delay. And I as you say, I think Eagle are still feeling the sting from the very poor F-16 early access release. I don't think anybody wants to be back there. So well done. I salute you, Eagle Dynamics. You did a good job here. Actually, speaking of videos, I wonder, shall we watch Matt Wagner's video where he does his announcement? Because I think it was actually quite good.
Let's stick that on, and we can have a discussion whilst Hang on, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Oh no, I adjusted you. Don't worry, I've adjusted you.
All right, okay.
So you should leave it where it was.
All right, I've set my levels back where it was.
Yep. Cool. Oh, and actually, I have this. I just realised I have this muted. I can actually unmute this video. Oh, it's bloody loud though. Let's turn it down. There we go. Otherwise, nobody will hear Chuck. You'll be obliterated by rotor sound. Now, this is beautiful, this. Bit of gun cam footage.
Yeah, this looks amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. There was a point in that with where the infrared was scrolling over the forest. It just looks so real. It looks exactly like IR footage that I've seen.
This is why they're showing us this. They want to show us how good it's looking, and it is looking good.
Yeah. No, it just looks amazing. And I mean, I got to comment, the sound as well is pretty top notch.
Yes, it is. And yeah, really nice seeing the speed of sound simulation in DCS, which has always been rather good. Oops, I hit pause by accident.
Hey everyone, Wags here from Eagle Dynamics.
Here's Wags.
All of us at Eagle Dynamics wish you good health and happiness in 2022. We have an exciting year planned, and the cornerstone
Are we going to talk over him, or are we going to let him say his thing?
I think we can talk a little bit. I like the shine on the screens.
Approximately a year ago.
Yeah. It's looking really good, and seeing your little boy in the front seat there, looking cool. That's a nice helmet he's got.
Oh yes, yeah, we're going to cover that later as well.
Yeah.
It'll certainly be worth the wait. As of January,
I mean, there's sometimes if you were looking at this out the corner of your eye, some of those shots, you would be hard pushed to think, is that real? Is that some video footage? You know, or is that in DCS?
Oh yeah.
Display and sight system.
Is this Falklands?
Display pages.
This looks like Falklands.
Might be.
The target acquisition.
Those rock formations look very.
Yeah, unusual.
30mm cannon.
Yeah. That isn't. Definitely not.
No, that's not. That's Syria.
Laser Hellfire missiles. The aircraft survivability.
I just realized there's some music in the background of this. So we're
and actually it's a commercial track, so you better cut that. Yeah, it's the soundtrack from Sunshine.
Okay, I thought I was getting a bit dodgy there. This is the problem. The hook is great. The hook is really good. This is why most of the time I mute videos, because there's always going to be something in the background. And I'm going to end up getting
we'll just mute that. I'm not sure how they licensed the soundtrack to Sunshine, or maybe they didn't. Yeah, I mean, you're right. This is why they're showing us this. It's definitely the guys, just hang on. It's it's coming and it looks awesome.
Yes.
So yeah,
it is looking very, very nice indeed. So I'm looking forward to this very much.
Yeah.
And 1 more month. Come on, can we really complain about 1 more month?
1 more month. Not sure.
Yeah,
not sure. I don't think it'll be 1 more month. I think it'll be it'll be a bit longer. But so just some of the things that Casmo was saying. I know we're going to stick his video in the background because he's got some good screenshots in it. But he was talking about multi-crew, and he kind of echoed things that we've been saying a wee while. Did my background just change to blue?
It did.
That's creepy because I didn't change it.
You've been hacked. Nice M4 here. and you can see the side armor here for the front seater. It's nice.
Sorry, as I was saying, Kevin was talking about multi-crew. And this sorry, God, I keep getting through this shot.
Yeah,
the way the trees blur in as he pans, it just looks so real.
It does. Right. It looks really good.
So I'm lucky. Casmo was saying that multi-crew, that they were wanting to work a little bit more on multi-crew, and certainly the AI aspects, because again, it comes down to what we'd been talking about pretty much all along about the Apache. That the interaction between the front seat and the back seat is much more dynamic and much more constant than in any other module that we've seen. So they really need to get that right. So I'm glad that they're acknowledging it and that they're taking the time to make sure that front seat back seat integration is just spot on. Otherwise, the Apache, I think, would fall really flat unless you were playing, really playing in multiplayer with a buddy. So yeah, I'm really glad to hear that.
Yep, absolutely. Just to address a couple of questions in chat here. So do you guys think F-15E will be launched this year, as it was in Ed's Xmas video for 2022? Note that that video is titled 2022 and beyond.
And beyond.
I would be very surprised if the F-15 comes out this year.
Same.
Yeah,
Same.
very surprised.
If it does, like, it'll be the last gasp of the year, like December, you know, but I think far more likely next year.
Yep. And James asking, does the Apache have an option to eject? No, it does not.
Nope.
You're supposed to land it and get out.
Yes, land it and run away.
Yeah, land it and run away. That's how you do it. And you've got M4, so...
Yeah, which is, and that's the reason why the crew carry M4s.
Yeah.
Is that they might have to be in a SEER environment where they need to defend themselves.
Yes, and actually they're wearing vests that are somewhat similar to what a Marine or a soldier would wear. They have extra mags. I don't know if they have grenades or anything like that, but certainly they're carrying like part of a soldier's kit. So they are
pretty kitted.
Yeah, they are able to operate individually, and they're also wearing body armor, so they're armored as well as carrying M4s. So even dismounted, they're fairly formidable, actually.
Yeah,
they can defend themselves. Anything else? Yeah, Tog suggesting it can auto-rotate. It's like, yes, that's what you do. If you have to, you auto-rotate it, then get out. Any view on when the F1 will be launched? No announcement yet. We'll be breaking that as soon as we have a date, but none has been announced by Air just yet. How many modules do you think will release in 2022? Not a clue.
No idea.
Not a clue.
Officially from ED1. Yeah, the Apache. From third parties, well, I think we're probably looking at the F1, the Mirage, and I think that's probably
F4U.
Aeromashi. Yeah, Aeromashi and F4U. So we could have a few.
Yeah.
We could have a few, but officially from ED, just the one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the case. Cool. Speaking of Casmo's video, as you quite rightly said, sir, Casmo did a nice video on this. I'm going to unmute him because I think we can get away with playing his audio. And let's see what Casmo has to say.
Quiet.
Hey guys, Casmo here, and I know there's probably a lot of disappointed faces out there with the recent announcement that
Sad
made
faces.
as far as the AH-64D being delayed. Just wanted to kind of throw in my 2 cents as somebody who's been
these are his own
helping out on
shots.
the
It's
SME
nice to
team.
see these. We've not seen them before.
I will tell you, there are people on that team so much more involved and so much smarter about these things than I am. I'm really just here for the pretty face, but a big thank you to those guys who are helping get this module to where it is now and where it's going to be. And that's really what I wanted to share with everyone is, without getting into too specific of points, just share with you guys that
Unfortunately, I can't hear him, so
by this.
my
I think
input's
most
a bit
of you
limited.
listening to this, I think most of you who play DCS understand that this stuff does take time. Of course, there's a very few.
He's explaining that it's going to take time.
Who will be upset by this? Just understand that it's kind of like baking a pie. You read the recipe.
He's now giving us the pie analogy.
You put it in the oven, and the recipe says.
Oh right, yes, I remember him talking about that. Yeah. Maybe let's turn him down a bit and we'll chat over it because it's a 5-minute long video and people should really go to his channel to watch this. I think because
people should.
Yes, because Casmo is if you're not familiar with Casmo, his content is excellent, and he's one of the people who did this for really real. So his opinion definitely counts. So I would definitely check out his stuff. But yeah, I think he gives a balanced kind of sort of a semi-insider view over what's been going on with the Apache launch, and he seems pretty positive. And certainly, his comments that there was him, a bunch of subject matter experts that all fly the Apache for real, all having a laugh on a server with it and going, "This is brilliant."
Yes.
So that says a lot.
Absolutely, and he was even saying that he feels like it's in a much better state than the F-16 was at launch, which perhaps isn't saying much, but still is very good to hear.
Yeah,
It takes time, and
a lot of really nice modeling detail here that he's showing off.
Working to get into
yeah,
and I know I sound like a shill right now for ED, and
Yeah, I think there's a mix of some stuff that we've seen before, and there was some stuff that he took when they've shown it. But do you know, on the whole, I think yeah, the way they're communicating this delay is a lot better than what they have done in the past. You know, especially like allowing a third party like Casmo, who is an SME, to comment and actually say that, hey, I'm working on this, but also talk about the problems that they're facing. You know, that wouldn't have happened a few years back. You know, ED was a very shut shop when it came to information. So I think
is still continuing to rage and cause problems.
Yeah, I think this is gonna just make the pill a little bit easier to swallow. I mean, you're always gonna get that element out there that is gonna, you know, raise the pitchforks and all this kind of stuff. And admittedly, yeah, there's part of me that's annoyed. There's part of me that's annoyed, but that I think comes from a wider frustration with, you know, things that are delayed in ED, and this is sort of just, you know, a little kick in the ribs. But that's the, you know, emotional side of me. The head, you know, the logical side is like, no, come on, this is totally acceptable, and you know, we just have to wait a bit longer.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. True Flight asking how many of the Apache devs caught COVID. We don't know. We just know that it's been a factor. They cite COVID as being a problem for the development team.
I'm just going to point to chat here. Tog is saying, I'm waiting for someone to work on DCS B17 for nostalgia. You don't have to wait any longer, because that is in development. Not for DCS though. As we or some of you might know that Microprose is back from the grave, and Microprose is reworking B17 for a modern audience. So there we go.
I really enjoyed that game back in the day. Very, very nice game.
Yeah, both of them, the original and the Mighty Eighth, I thought they were fantastic. But yeah, no, we will have a B17 to play with, just in some different software. So.
Fair enough. But yeah, so it was some of the big things that he points out during the course of this video, being the AI being problematic, and also, as they mentioned in the newsletter, the flight dynamics and the autopilot modes. And these are very, very complex subjects, so you know, it's not surprising that these are things that will take a bit of work.
And I think, you know, before we came on air, you pointed out that, like, you know, ED don't really have much experience in this, because it's Heatblur that have the experience in producing Jester, whereas you know, ED did Petrovich, which is, let's face it, he doesn't have to do much.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's pretty basic.
Yeah.
It does the job, but
it does the job. But the teamwork that needs to be present, and the close interaction between front and back seat in the Apache, it's on a whole new level. It's a big task. Task.
Yeah. So anyway, Apache's delayed. Moving on. Moving on, on the newsletter, the DCS Lunar Sale 2022 starts today and lasts until the 7th of February at 1500 GMT on our eStore. This doesn't apply to Steam. And they mention a bunch of savings. So if we zip down, there's modules with 30% discount, which include the A10, the F-16, the F-18, the JF-17, the Supercarrier, the Channel Map, and the Mi-24. And campaigns with a 30% discount are Operation Persian Freedom for the A-10, Sky Warrior campaign for the AV-8B, Rising Squall campaign for the F-18, Pandemic campaign for the K-50, aptly named, and Crew Part 1 campaign for the Mi-8.
Am I right in thinking the JF-17 being on sale there, is that the first time that's come on sale?
Yes, that's the first time the JF-17's been on sale. So now is your time to go and grab that module. I think it's really, really good. A lot of people think it's irrelevant, and they're right, but I still think it's really good. And then you can follow my excellent tutorial series on the topic.
Yeah. It's a good read for aggressor jet. You know,
yes,
it's that's really the role that I think it sort of quite effectively plays in DCS. So and yeah, go grab it because it's the first time it's been on sale, and it's been quite an expensive module.
Yeah.
So to get 30% off of it, then absolutely go grab that.
It's very fully featured, is my opinion on it. And a good GF-17 pilot can very, very easily overcome a mediocre F-16 pilot. So they're quite similar aircraft. The GF-17 in some ways is less capable, but if you're good with it, you will take down even the best aircraft, as long as the pilot is not the best. So good bit of fun. David, sorry.
Yes, yeah. I was just gonna literally call out David's question because it's a really good question,
and it's a good one for you.
Yeah. David Renaud, how are you preparing for the Apache in regards to all the HOTAS? Such a good question, because you are not wrong. If I don't know if anybody's seen a picture of an Apache collective, but it is mental. It's actually it's double sticked. Don't type double ended into Google.
No.
So yeah, because it has like one part of the collective is designed for your general everyday flying, and then the other part of the collective, which I think is the bit further up, that's designed for target acquisition and sort of data management and things like that. So it's just covered in buttons and switches. It's bonkers.
I've got it on screen now for chat, so they can see what we're talking about here.
And then the cyclic itself, not too dissimilar to any sort of decent HOTAS stick. But then if you're sitting in the front seat, you've got the Tdock as well, which is a set of hand grips either side of a screen. So you have a lot of things. My personal route, the way that I have gone about this, is I have the Verpal Collective with there you go. That's the Tdock there. So I have a Verpal Collective, but I also have a CM3 throttle. So I'm thinking between those two things, and particularly the state switching that you can do in the CM3 throttle. I'm thinking that's how I'm going to handle it, because you can actually set it up in the software so that state switch doesn't just affect the throttle, it can affect all your peripherals depending on how you set it up. So I'm going to have like okay, I'm in normal flying mode or I'm in combat mode kind of state switch, and then that'll change the collective. And of course I'll have all the buttons and all the goodies on the CM3, which is mounted just to the right of it. So that's how I'm going to handle the collective. The cyclic is fairly standard. You'll get away with that with any HOTAS stick. But the Tdock, Xbox 360 controller, that's my plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good shout.
Yeah, Xbox 360 controller, and doing some clever, modifier buttons. So like I might have one of the shoulder buttons as a modifier so that I can get sort of the multiple layers. But yeah, that's the plan. We'll see how well it works when it launches.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. That's going to be a good way of handling it.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not wrong. It's going to be a challenge, but I get the feeling ED will put in some abstraction layers for us, which is what they've done in other products with complex controllers, where, we might be able to have some mode switching and things like that. So we'll just have to wait and see how ED do the controller, because I'm sure they must have thought about it.
Oh, yes. Tog asking, any news on that Tornado being made by Frantic Corporation?
I don't know.
Let's not spread that around too much. This is a joke that Frantic has been repeating. I don't want people in the DCS community to think that a Tornado is actually being made and get too excited.
It's not a real thing.
It's not a real thing.
It's not a tornado.
It's not a tornado. It's an Apache. It's not a tornado. Cool. Okay, let's jump straight back into the newsletter here, because they did actually provide a proper development progress report on the Apache, which is nice to see. They've made a bunch of screenshots. They're making improvements to the pilot model, helmet, and gestures. Since the last progress update, we've reviewed the overall shape based on a real service helmet. It's quite a piece of kit. We're also working on gesture animations for both the pilot and co-pilot gunner. I was commenting before the stream that I don't really know what that means, and I'm intrigued what these gestures might be. But I don't like, and I think sort of to recap the conversation for the viewers. I'm of the opinion that it's kind of how the crew moves in the cockpit that you will see. When if you're sitting in the rear seat, you'll see his head turning, like he might sort of point over there or something like that, and maybe you see his hands coming up. I don't think it's something that you could use to communicate to other players in multiplayer in other airframe. I don't think it's hand signals. Yeah. Simply because I don't think with a monitor, or even in VR, even with a G2 or a Pimax or something, that you've got enough visual acuity to accurately see, well, does he have one finger up? Has he got two fingers up? All that kind of stuff. Is he insulting me? The birds? Yeah, exactly. Is he insulting me in US English or British English? Yeah. Is it that or is it that? Pretty much. Gonna translate. Yeah, exactly. I have no idea, because Eagle have never mentioned this before, so I don't know what this might refer to. I've always had this dream, and of course you're quite rightly pointing out the technical problems, but I've always had this dream that our VR hand controllers, which in many cases have finger tracking or the ability to show different hand gestures, I would love to be like pointing, waving, saluting, and so on in VR at my buddies in formation. But you quite rightly said it's quite likely that they wouldn't be able to figure out what I was doing. So still, I think you would pick up on a broad gesture, like you would pick up on waving, or you'd pick up on the knife hand over there kind of thing. But like I think like actually communicating formation change, or close up, or spread out, with hand signals. I don't think we've got the visual acuity in our systems to be able to do that yet. I say yet. I like Mr. Yeti's comment. Weapons officer being sick in a bag as I fly badly. Yep. Keep the ball centered, man. Don't make your weapons officer sick. It's a funny thing, actually, something that I noted in VR one of the first times I was flying a helicopter, how quickly you can feel unwell in uncoordinated flight, even in VR, let alone if you're there in person. It's not nice. Center the ball. It's not a fun experience. Oh dear. So anyway, continuing, the combat uniform of the aircrew is nearing completion, and we look forward to presenting you 2 camouflage options. The first is a universal early period camouflage pattern based on or around the 2005 spec. The pilot's equipment will include a bulletproof vest, an unloading vest, a pouch with first aid kit, an M4 mag pouch, belts, and a radio. The texture of the helmet is made in such a way that you can draw your individual skins, stickers, attach patches, and country flags. This is something that Razbam did for the Harrier helmet, actually, and I've played around with this. It's a lot of fun, being able to design your helmet. Fantastic. That's really good. I can see a lot of funny helmet designs there. You can do the whole aliens fly the friendly skies chalked onto your helmet. Oh yeah, that's going to be really, really cool. The dropship was kind of based on the Apache, so yeah. Yep, absolutely. So you can see some examples of this here, where they've got some patches covering the NVG batteries and so on. And this guy even has a painted visor cover on his helmet, which is quite nice. And we can see an example of the uniform that they were discussing here, complete with pouches. This is quite cool. And that's a different pattern. I don't know which is which. I don't know which is the early and which is the late one. I'm just going to jump into chat, because Matt Jones has said Razbam have planned to do the EE Lightning. Yes. Now,
Razbam have planned to do everything. I didn't know they were planning on doing the lightning, and that's fucking awesome.
Yes, actually, they've been talking about that for the last couple of years, so it's on their roadmap.
Wow! Oh my god! Yeah, the English Electric Lightning. Holy shit! What a plane! That, in fact, I think that still holds some aviation records in terms of times to altitude and things like that. Like, I think it's still like even 40 years since it was last in service. It still holds some records. It's a monstrous plane. Monstrous plane.
The MiG-25 was the only aircraft that could really beat it on top speed. But climb performance and many other things, the Lightning had the edge. And you're right, it still holds number of records. Razbam have released images, some of them quite recently, of their Lightning model.
No, I did know. I did know this. I'm having a senior moment. No, I did know this because now that I remember seeing the pictures of it. Yeah, it's a rocket with a man strapped to it. It's absolutely crazy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Amandau asking how long we've been live. We've been on for about 35 minutes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me see here. 2 days, says Size. Very good. Anything else? Lots and lots of chat messages here.
Yeah, there was a joke about the Lightning. Was how do you get hold of an English Electric Lightning? You buy a farm in Kent and wait for one to crash into it. They did like to catch fire. That was
yes.
Yeah, with the engines being one on top of each other, when the top engine developed a leak, it would just leak its fluids into the bottom engine and catch fire. So,
fantastic. Self-igniting. Chat is informing us that this that I have on the screen just now is the old pattern uniform, and this one that looks kind of like Marpat is or multicam or whatever you call this these days.
Yeah.
This is the modern one. So you can go old school or new school. Because the older style that looks like ICU. Is that what that is?
Not sure.
Yeah. Anyway, which was the US Army's rubbish camouflage that they used to use. The idea was that they would have a single camouflage that would work everywhere, but what they managed to create was a camouflage that worked nowhere, except maybe on your granny's couch. It's pretty atrocious. Whereas the modern day one is much better, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. Okie dokie. So those are all the images that we've got. And that, in fact, is the newsletter from Eagle. That's the entire thing. We do have a couple more items, though, for this week. And I thought we would dive in and take a little look at some community modules, because there's been some absolutely amazing stuff coming out recently. A4, I think, being one of the most notable ones, given that it has an external flight model and quite a lot of... actually, someone noticed my Freudian slip. ACU, but the thing is, I used to be an airsofter, and in airsoft we always called it ICU.
I see you, camo. Yeah,
because it's rubbish.
Because your camo's crap.
Absolute rubbish. Anyway, sorry. So the A4 looking really, really good. We've got a couple more. The SU-30, complete with front and back cockpit. Clickable cockpits. It's not clear whether or not this one has an external flight model. Well, actually, come to think of it, I was going to say I suspect that it won't, but actually they could just use the SU-33 flight model, which is full fidelity and external. This one's not out yet, so they're just about to release it, so we don't know anything about the flight model. But what we do know is that they've fully simulated the front and rear cockpits and made them clickable. So this is looking very interesting.
Yeah, these guys are going to have to watch themselves,
Well, they're going to have to be careful around open windows, that's for sure. Because, people who annoy the Russian government have a nasty habit of falling out of windows.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe put some gloves on before they open their front door. What's this sticky stuff on my door handle?
Yeah, I don't know how this would work because these are people online using aliases, etc., etc. They're not a company. I don't know if the Russian government is going to be able to touch them in the same way they would touch Eagle Dynamics.
I guess it depends how much of the system's stuff is.
But those multifunction displays. Sorry, chat. I'm just going to skip back for one moment. I've seen images of the Su-30 cockpit, and that is the correct symbology. So they are clearly realistically simulating at least some of the multifunction displays here, which is very, very cool. Anyway, I'll hit play again there. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be multi-crew. Yeah, a modern Russian aircraft. This one has thrust vectoring. It's the version of the Su-30 with thrust vectoring. It's a very, very kind of multi-mission capable, multi-role. It has a very, very long range, and with 2 crew members, you're going to have a lot of capability there, I feel. So this is going to be nice.
It's a pretty formidable aircraft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised somebody hasn't had a quiet word with them and said "niet."
Niet, comrade. And apparently, this is due to be released any day now. So this will be available for us to play around with very soon.
Yeah,
and I'll be looking at this with great interest.
Yeah. I'll certainly give it a look as well. I'm trying to think who operates these. Does India not have a few?
India operates, as I recall, the Su-30 MKI, which is their special variant. Which I think is pretty similar to the Russian standard one. The Russian Air Force has these as well, of course. I don't know who else has them, but definitely Russia and India.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where they're getting their information. Like, that's... Yeah.
Probably easier
honestly,
to... Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Probably easier to get the information from India than from Russia.
Yeah, they do. I'm not kidding. They do have to be a bit careful. Russia is very precious over this stuff. So yeah.
And yeah, actually, I made the comment earlier. Like, I don't. Oh, 26th. Okay, so wow, in 4 days we're going to get to play with this.
4 days. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay. This is interesting. Oh, I don't want that. It's going into my it's going into my queue of videos to watch. As I said earlier, I don't know what they're going to do around the flight model, but actually, realistically, they really could just take the Su-33 flight model and tweak it slightly, because the Su-30 and the Su-33 are going to fly very, very similarly, with the exception of the thrust vectoring in the Su-30. So yeah, very interesting. And then, not just an Su-30, but, our cup runneth over, because we also have the UH-60, which is looking very nice indeed. This is Red Kite's video. I don't know if there's an official video for the UH-60 or not, but Red Kite is excellent. Always check out his channel. Great guy, really good tutorials. And in this video, he actually does... the improbable. He air-to-air refuels a UH-60. And he claims in the video, and I'm believing him, that this was his first attempt. His very first attempt, and he manages to air-to-air refuel. And think about it. You're pitching for forward velocity, and you're pulling collective to go up and down. So, actually maintaining the alignment of that probe and getting it in the basket, not going to be very easy. Really, really not going to be very easy. I don't know how he does it. I'm actually going to skip forward a bit, and we can see the critical moment when he jabs it in. But very cool. Currently in the game, the UH-60, it's a simplified flight model, so it's no external flight model in this one. Full clickable cockpit. Most of the cockpit does appear to be simulated. No weapons and no door gunners. However, it is capable of various different kinds of things, like carrying troops, air-to-air refueling, as demonstrated here. I don't know if it can sling load. I'd be surprised if it couldn't. Surely it can sling load.
I think it can.
Yeah. I mean in sim. I don't know if they've.
Oh, in sim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know in real life it can sling loads. So very, very interesting aircraft. This is another one that I'm going to have to go and take a look at because I like helicopters, and of course the Black Hawk is ubiquitous when it comes to the US military. So very cool.
Yeah. Is he going to get it in? I'm curious. Go on.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you're going to see in just a moment. Is he going to get it in? Yeah.
Cue the Pornhub jingle.
Yes, indeed. So really cool. Now, as I understand it, this is a version of the KC-135 included with the mod, which is specially modified to fly very, very slowly. I think it's flying at about 140 knots here, which I'm not sure that a KC-135 could in real life.
Yeah, I think it probably could. You ditch a lot of flap, you'd probably be all right. But the standard KC-135 won't recognize the Black Hawk, so you have to use the excuse me. You've got to use the one that's included in the package for it to work. Yeah, it's a good effort. I've heard the flight model is a little bit, but not bad, I think is what I've heard.
Well, and it's at the right price point, so I don't think we can complain too much.
Yeah, for the price point, it's like we can forgive it.
Totally, and I think the cockpit looks really nice. And I've watched a couple of videos about the startup procedure, and the startup procedure looks fairly complete to me. You're having to use the shut-off valves and adjust the condition levers and all the kind of things that I would expect to have to do in a Black Hawk. Sorry, so it looks nice.
Yeah,
very cool stuff.
It's nice to see all these third-party sort of free modules coming out. I think I know the ED have always been down on the idea of people, of not having control over third-party modules, and it's something that I vehemently disagree with, because their argument is that, we can't ensure quality, and it's like, well, the market ensures quality. If it's such a dumb fucking argument.
Good modules will flourish, and bad modules will fall by the wayside.
Exactly. It's a stupid argument. So, I'm really liking seeing these kinds of modules show up, because I think all it is going to do is going to add to the replayability and the longevity of DCS as a platform.
Yes.
I think it's a poor decision that they keep the SDK under wraps as much as they do, and I think it comes. I think the argument that it's because they want to gatekeep quality is bullshit. I think what it is that they want to ensure they get their 30%. So, of
course, yeah. It's not in their interest. Well, actually, in some ways, it is. It's a faulty argument, because it is in their interest to ensure that there is as wide a spectrum of good modules, whether they're paid for or free. Because anybody who plays free modules will at some point buy paid for modules. It's almost a certainty.
Yeah. It's not a good argument that they use for keeping the SDK so under wraps, but it's great to see developers like that, like this, producing. Okay, they might not be the highest fidelity, but it's just their first time out, and they're learning. And then you look at something like the A4. Oof. I've mucked around a little bit with the A4. And I was so impressed with it. Initially, I thought there's something wrong with this flight model, because I thought this is rolling way too fast. I mean, I know that the A4 has got a really fast roll rate, but this feels really fast. And then I went and looked up the figures and discovered it has a 720 degree per second roll rate. Yeah, and they've got that in there, and it just as a flight model, the A4 is really good. So. Yeah, this kind of stuff coming to DCS is brilliant.
It's actually possible to make your pilot black out in DCS just by rolling the A4.
As it was in the real aircraft, I believe. There's a story from one pilot who was learning during the Vietnam War, and then because they were instructed to limit their roll rate, and of course being a Peter pilot, he just banged it over, and he rattled his head off the canopy on one side, rebounded and smashed it off the other side of the canopy, and just about KO'd himself and went into the ground. So it was a phenomenal roll rate on the A4. And the complexity of that is in the flight model in this free mod in the A4 mod. So yeah, it's and I think as well, it's things like this, things like the Black Hawk, the A4, they're going to bring players into DCS, because DCS advertises itself as free to play, and that is such bullshit. It's not free to play. And if you want anything other than if you want anything with any complexity other than the training version of the P-51, you've got to spend money, and you've got to spend a lot of money. Like, modules ain't cheap, and it's the biggest criticism that I see about DCS is how the hell can they justify the cost of a module? Now, we know why they can justify it, because of the level of complexity that it takes to develop a module. It's a very difficult thing to do, and it's a very niche market.
Yes.
That's why they're expensive. Completely understand that. But somebody trying to get into DCS who knows nothing about the community, knows nothing about how flight sims are developed, but they really want to give it a go. They see the price tag and they get absolute sticker shock. So when you've got things like this that can maybe bring somebody into the hobby for free, I think that's a great thing, and I think we should be really, we should be really supporting these people, and I really think ED should be encouraging it more.
Totally agree. That your statement there gets my 2 thumbs up, and we're even looking in the VAF. We've had discussions about this, about forming a squadron around the A4, because then you have this kind of zero cost entry point. Although of course people are probably going to want to buy HOTASs, and a PC that can play DCS is not cheap. But anyway, I can zero cost entry, because the A4 is absolutely good enough that we could form a squadron around it, and that would open the VAF and DCS up to way more people than can play it today, who if they would need to buy a commercial module, they perhaps would choose not to.
I mean, like, when you think about it, not everybody's as fortunate as everybody else, and like the cost of a module, 60 quid. I mean, that's a significant chunk of somebody's weekly pay in some cases. It's a lot of money, and in other parts of the world, it's even more. I'm sort of talking about this from a UK perspective. Admittedly, we're very privileged in the UK, so and I think it's a shame that people are getting turned away because of the cost of entry. It is a fantastically expensive hobby. We were talking about this the other night, like the cost of equipment, computers, gear, all this kind of stuff. So like things like this that kind of perhaps democratize access to the hobby, I think are great and really should be supported.
Yeah, I think this year is absolutely going to be the year of the what are they called again? Community mods. This is going to be the year of the DCS community mods, and I'm hoping the Eagle are watching. Not necessarily us, but I'm hoping that they're watching what's going on with the community mods with interest, and will start to support them better, because I think ultimately it's going to be in their interest.
Yeah, I do too. But unfortunately, in the past, they've been very hostile towards them, and I think it's such a bad way of looking at it. I think that is that kind of attitude is what will keep DCS niche. Although
on saying that, I think they're planning around the modules that they're going to develop, such as the F-16, Apache, F-18 have been very smart. They are now delivering very complex modules which do capture the public's attention and will bring a lot of people into the sim.
This is true. I mean, they did the F-18, the F-16, and the Apache and the Tomcat.
Yeah. That's
the biggies.
That's it. Anybody who is at all interested in aviation is going to be interested in one of those aircraft.
Yeah. And now we've got the Eurofighter coming. So there we go.
And we already have the Harrier, which of course is the best of them all.
Yeah, I know. They're making some smart decisions there. Yeah. But I think for us, and I'm sort of talking about the VAF here, is that one of the things that we've wanted to instill in our pilots is airmanship. And, in order to learn airmanship, and to build an innate muscle memory and understanding of things like angle of attack, pitch power coupling, being able to feel your aircraft, so that you can fly much more efficiently and get better turn rates and things like that. You need to operate an aircraft that doesn't have any fly-by-wire, is very raw, it's a very pure airframe.
Yes.
Now, we could do that. We could offer a training experience like that using something like the L-39 or the C-101. Both those aircraft do that, but they're paid for modules and they're expensive. So asking a new member, hey, would you like to do some training? By the way, you've got to go and buy a module to do that. It's a huge ask.
Yes.
We can't really ask our members to do that. Whereas the A4,
click this link.
Okay. Yeah, it's click the link, go and download the A4. Now you've got a flight model that's very pure. We can explore these areas of flight regimes in something where you can get a feel for it and understand it, and then translate it across into more assisted airframes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we're going to do. It's going to be nice.
I think so. Yeah. I think that's where we're headed. Yeah.
I've been pottering about in the A4, and it's actually, as a training aircraft, it's a pretty good choice. Like, the only thing that would be perhaps better if we had a module of a similar quality would be a Goshawk.
Yes,
that would be even better. But the one that we have has a very simplified flight model. Although the systems modeling is nice.
It's a little. Yeah, it's a little bit arcadey. Mm-hmm. That said, it may develop into something much better, and like a Goshawk or an actual hawk.
No. Stop it.
We're not mentioning them ever again.
We don't talk about the hawk. We mentioned the hawk once. I think we got away with it. But the Goshawk I think is really nice. They've nicely modelled the MFDs and so on. But I think
the systems are brilliant.
Yeah. I think at the present time the A4 is the one. Absolutely. And I guess we've already mentioned VAF a couple of times, so let's do our usual bit for VAF.
Troll push.
So both myself and dotChuckles, we're the founders, you could say, of the Virtual Air Force, otherwise known as VAF. There's a link to our Discord in the show notes below. Everybody who is interested, even just interested in aviation, wants to hang out with the group, wants to talk to me and dotChuckles, although we're not always there, they are very, very welcome to join. Or we have this kind of opt-in milsim approach, so you can join the VAF, be what we call a freelancer, fly whatever module you like, take part in our training sessions and weekly missions and so on as and when you like. Or you can opt into a more milsim approach, where we have mandatory training and type ratings and a bit more kind of structure around it. We have a number of these numbered squadrons inside the VAF. We currently have numbered squadrons for the F-16, the Harrier, the A-10, the F-14, and the F-18, and with probably more coming on stream soon. So please join us if you would like to. It's a lot of fun. Last mission that we ran on Thursday, we had I think 27 pilots in the mission.
27 pilots.
Which is insane. When we started this, do you remember, like 2 years ago or even earlier, it was me and you and at most one or two other people who were turning up. And now we're approaching 30 in a mission. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and we're sort of bringing on capabilities as well for people who don't necessarily fly. but still want to take part. So we're bringing in things like GCI and air traffic control and elements like that for
human air traffic control.
Human air traffic control and human GCI for people that, for whatever reason, maybe they don't have a very powerful PC, or there's other reasons why they don't want to fly. They can still take part in some kind of manner. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun, actually. I've done it myself a little bit. Being air traffic control is kind of fun. Being a mission commander, being Overlord is lots of fun. Overlord, Sunrise, all this kind of stuff. It's great fun.
Yeah, I've not been on a mission where we've used the mission commander, actually.
It's so good. Yeah. It's so good, because when we have the mission commander, what we tend to do is set up... We have multiple packages, and of course each package has flights inside it. We're normally creating marshal points and then push points, and it's the mission commander who's calling the pushes. So he actually, the mission commander will actually organize all of the packages so that they're hitting their targets at the correct times, and ones that have dependencies, they're making sure that, okay, that SAM site is down before we push this particular package, and so on and so forth. It's the coordination is brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. And we've been seeing a fair amount of growth as well. I mean, for a long time we had the Cult of Two Squadron, which is our F-16 squadron.
We kind of still do.
We kind of still do. They have a lot of pilots. I mean, they're fielding 2 elements pretty much every mission now. But
often 3.
The other squadrons, often 3. Really, God, up to 3 now. The other squadrons are growing really nicely. Our F-14 squadron has been recruiting some pilots, and we've got a couple of complete crews there with Rio and pilot. F-18 is growing. The A-10 squadron as well fielded a full element in the last mission, I believe.
Yes.
So it's and the Harrier squadron.
Most important, the Harrier squadron, which I'm squadron leader for the Harriers. We in some missions we've been sending out 2 4 ships. So
2 full elements. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's I'm very pleased with how we've grown over the last year and a bit now. So.
Oh yes. Mark S. asking, can the VAF buy a couple of trainers and loan them out to students? I know of a squad that does that. I didn't know that was possible. I don't know how that would work. But we're probably sidestepping that whole issue and going to a free module for the training.
Yeah. I think while some squads might be doing it, I think you're probably breaking the ground your terms of your EULA there, and in terms of shuffling codes around, and you might end up getting the ban hammer on your ED account, and that would be a bit shit.
Yeah, I've got no idea, but probably you're not supposed to do that, and it would be a little bit complicated anyway. Yes, Tog saying, don't forget the new A-10 squadron. We did. We mentioned the A-10s a couple of times.
Yeah, we mentioned them.
And on Thursday, as we said, they had a full 4 ship for the first time, and they looked glorious. It was funny because I had them taking off from a very small airfield, where they actually had to backtrack and turn around to take off. And seeing them kind of passing each other and doing a U-turn and then assembling on the runway, it was quite a sight. Yeah, and I think they handed out the pain quite effectively as well. They were doing pretty well. Across all the squadrons, we've got some pretty experienced pilots now as well. So listening in on comms on SRS, it sounds the business. It's really good. It's really good. It's very professional. Yeah, an excellent, a really outstanding showing from everybody in VAF. Well done, everybody.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's the shout out for the VAF. As I said, join the Discord. It's linked in the chat there. It's also linked below the video. We're very, very happy to accept everybody. You probably want to check time zones. We're normally flying evenings in UK time zone. Or I'm in CET. Some people are in EET, but around about GMT is when we're generally doing stuff. Mr. Yeti, Mr. Yeti, I'm laughing at every one of your comments. You're a funny fellow. Any plans to have a baguette squadron, M2000s?
It's a great module.
It's a great module.
I don't know what it would do that the F-16 squadron doesn't do already.
The M2000 is more of a pure interceptor. Whereas the F-16 is very much a multi-role aircraft, which can also, knife fight with the best of them. I'm going to give my standard answer to this, which is always, if a squadron leader and enough pilots come along, then the answer is pretty much always yes. Like, if the people are there who want to fly it, then we'll do it. But I'm not aware of anybody coming to us so far about the Mirage 2000.
I think there's people that sort of expressed a sort of kind of interest, but nobody's sort of really expressed a look. I want to establish this and have brought people with them that say they want to fly it. You know.
Yeah, pretty much. So. I think the only one that has come up from time to time, which some people have shown interest in, but not enough for us to do it, has been the JF-17. There's been the occasional bit of interest. I would like to fly the JF-17. There's a couple more people who would, but we need people to lead that.
So Mark S is saying, FYI, the student would log into DCS with a squad account, which owns the trainer.
Yeah,
I would not be putting that about too much. I think that's a EULA breach.
And the thing is, if you have people who leave the squadron and still have the squadron account details, there are lots of problems around that. So I don't think we do that.
They need to be careful if they're doing that. If the gaze of Sauron falls upon them,
yeah, pretty much.
Get into some trouble.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, that's our shout out for the VAF, and I think that's this week's DCS news.
Yeah,
I don't think there's really anything else.
We're kind of there. Yeah,
we're up to date. So, where's my finger? He's been dotChuckles. I've been Deepak, as always, and every week on my channel, I'm doing a tutorial video. Currently, it's the FA-18C. I just did a premiere there all about the within visual range modes, the air combat maneuvering modes, the automatic short range modes of the radar. Next week we're going to take a look at air to ground radar modes in the FA-18C, of which there are many, and we will cover them in detail. But yeah, I'm doing a premiere of my tutorial series every Saturday, and then immediately after that we do the DCS news, which just happens to be this thing, what you are watching now. I hope you've all enjoyed it. It's always great fun to do these, and the chat involvement, as always, has been fantastic. Thank you.
That's always the best part for me is interacting with chat. It's always good fun.
Absolutely. You've made us laugh, you've made us cry, you've made us stroke our chins, and thank you for all of that. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you all next time. Fly safe.